Hey guys, Dan and Elise again, and today we are going to go deep on measurements. So specifically what I want to talk about is like measurements as it pertains to achieving goals.
Yes.
So there's like the saying like, if you can measure it, you can change it. And I think that unfortunately, a lot of times that starts off great, and then you can kind of miss the forest for the trees, and you get hung up on the number and not what that number was actually representing. I think a good example of that is just like weight loss in general.
I was just gonna bring that.
So I'm sorry, stepping on your toes here, but it's if your goal is to lose 30 pounds and you start weighing yourself every day and you lose 20 pounds, you're going to be really proud of yourself. You're going to be excited. But the more weight you lose, the less relevant that number becomes.
Right.
Because that weight loss is a smaller percentage of what's happening. There's different things going on in your body, hydration, muscle mass, things like that are going to affect it way more.
And keep in mind that 20 pounds, you're 20 pounds lighter. So your body's not the same. So you've lost 20 pounds, which is freaking incredible. But then that last 10 pounds, it's going to be different than the 20 pounds that you lost. People don't talk about that in the health and fitness industry. There's no guidebook on this, but the guidebook, because it can be studied, because it can be peer reviewed, because it's numerical, that's the measurements that we're trying to debunk and say like it's not as simple as that seems.
Yeah, exactly. Like another good example of this is like cholesterol. So say what you will about cholesterol, the narrative is that it's bad for you and that there's this duality of like
good cholesterol,
bad. Yeah, exactly. And
LDL, HDL, all these damn numbers, and no one really knows what the F anybody's talking about except for maybe one or two doctors out there.
Exactly. So you get your blood test, it comes back as maybe you have high cholesterol, and that there's this range that you want to get into because that's where healthy is. So your doctor puts you on a statin. The statin over time lowers your cholesterol because it's inhibiting your ability to make cholesterol. And then you go back in, you get another blood test, your cholesterol is in the healthy zone. But nothing changed except the cholesterol. So the reason that cholesterol was there didn't change, your overall health didn't change. You basically cheated on the test. So this is, exactly what I said before, you're missing the forest for the trees. You're missing health because you just found the number that you needed, and that's a win. The doctor can check that off as a win.
Exactly. Did you change your diet? Did you do anything? Were you healthy or like exercising? Were you walking? Were you moving your body? Were you decreasing stress? Or no, I was just able to take this pill and then, he told me to eat less red meat and I did that. But you loaded up on processed food still and all these other things. So
so your number could get better, but your health might have gotten worse.
Yes. I say this all the time to not only my clients, but clients of ours that we work with together. Another example is trackers, like food trackers, like MyFitnessPal or Weight Watchers or Beachbody.
Just counting on your own.
Counting on your own, totally. And yes, that was something that I used to do, and I didn't understand what we're speaking about now, because when you enter your food and say hypothetically on MyFitnessPal, you're basically picking numerical numbers and calories for specific foods. Sometimes they'll have the brands and things like that, but you're adding all of these food into a diary, but it's not taking into consideration anything and everything else that's going on in your life, the expenditure of these calories, what they're actually meaning. Again, calories from broccoli is very different than calories from steak. Calories from potato chips is very different than an actual like sweet potato. There is a huge difference. You can't just put it in an app and know, oh my gosh, yes, I hit my calories and macros for the day. That's not health, and it's actually really detrimental to your mindset. I've been there. I mean, I'm recovering from an eating disorder. I went from an eating disorder to counting calories, which is no different. It's that mindset of, oh my gosh, I have to hit this amount of calories, macros per day. And it's so detrimental. It F's up your mind. I couldn't wrap my head around what health was because I thought it was quantifiable.
Yeah. So it is definitely like, these are good in the short term. And I think it is really helpful to count calories, to know what you're eating, to have a good idea of what a meal looks like, to have a good idea of I should probably have this many carbs to this much meat. whatever that is. Once you have that understanding,
but you also have to, hold on, you also have to understand good carbs versus bad carbs, processed food versus not. If you're eating a crappy steak that's coming from factory farm animals compared to a grass-fed steak, there's so much to do with food. It's that's why we're here. It makes my head spin. Never mind, it's someone who's been doing this for years and years and years. So sorry to cut you off.
That's fine. That's very helpful, and I think that like this kind of flows into all different parts of science. Like another one you see all the time is vitamin D. Vitamin D is unbelievably important. It's, mislabeled a vitamin. It's actually a hormone. It's like really essential to so many things going on in your body, but it gets conflated for sun exposure. And then so vitamin D does so many things that are really good for you. Sun exposure does so many more. There's, when the sun hits your skin, you can convert nitrous oxide in your body. It's helping the flow of things. It's helping your hormones like endorphins. You're gonna feel better. It's gonna help you to actually, your skin will tan so you can handle more and more sun exposure. But a lot of times when sun exposure is studied, it gets replaced by vitamin D. So then in a lot of the literature, that's a tough word, literature that you read, it's saying specifically vitamin D when the actual thing that you should have been measuring is sun exposure. But then because you lose track of the forest for the trees, you're gonna take a vitamin D pill instead of sun exposure, and then you're missing out on so many important benefits.
Right. And where is that vitamin D really coming from? Like, again, you can't take sunlight and put it into a pill. It's just not feasible. It's not something that happens.
So the quality is going to be so much better in the sun than the pill. Like, there's just so many things. You don't want to be adding something into your body that you don't need to. So I think all of these, it's just the concept is really, really important to keep in mind that, yes, if you want to change something, it's good to be able to measure it so that you know if you changed it or not. But don't lose track of what you're actually trying to change. Don't cheat on the test and try to get, the specific score and act like you're winning. Actually win. Actually get the health benefits or the life quality benefits. Don't get caught up in numbers too much.
Don't get caught up in numbers too much, for sure. And just, it takes a little bit of persistence and a little bit of, changing that mindset and being able to be open and kind of researching and doing your due diligence and wanting to actually be the healthiest version of yourself without, like we said, taking the pills and taking other things.